So, if we were to have a minyan this morning, we would take out the Torah and read it, but we took out the Torah last night. We only take it out if there's a minyan. So I normally tell you a little bit about the Torah portion. We had just come through the Red Sea, and Moses is met by his father-in-law, Jethro, who brings his wife, Zipporah, and two boys. They're two boys, and is amazed in what his son-in-law does. Jethro was a priest, a Midianite priest, not a Jewish man, but he says, it's incredible what you guys did. And he offers sacrifices to God. And I guess because of that, he gets a Torah portion named after him. The name of this week's Torah portion is Jethro, or Yitro. There's only one other Torah portion named after someone who's not Jewish. Bonus points if you can figure out. All right, so I'll tell you afterwards. What's that? Oh, you're right. There's two. That's right, Noah. That's a good. What do you Noah? That's a good one. You get extra bonus points. The other's Balak, the non-Jewish king who hired Balaam. Anyways, he comes and he sees that Noah. No, you got me stuck back at the flood. You can never get past the flood. It's like it will never become September 12th, you know. He sees that Moses is so inundated. Everyone's coming up to Moses. What does God say about this? What should we do about that? Moses was the only one interpreting God's word. And there were a lot of people. And so Jethro said, you've got to delegate it. You got to set up different judges for a bigger group, a smaller group, a smaller group, and a smaller group. And it was really good advice, and it was a real powerful statement as to what this religion is all about. It's not just about what the head guy says. We don't have like a dictator, but God's word rests in all of us. And we all have an ability to interpret God's word. Now, we need to listen. We need to learn. But any one of us can interpret God's word. And right after that statement of setting up the different judges on all the different levels, we have God speaking to all of us. It's called Aseret HaDibrot. Aseret means the 10. Dibrot doesn't mean commandments. What's the word for commandment? Mitzvah. It's not the 10 mitzvot. Aseret ha-mitzvot. It's Aseret HaDibrot. It's the 10 spoken things. These are the only ones of the commandments that all of us heard. And we're told that we were all there on Mount Sinai, every single one of us. And we all heard it. And we all heard it according to our capabilities to hear, like a child heard the truth the way a child understands. And an adult heard it the way an adult understands. You see that eternal light up there? That is, there were only 3 pieces of art that were designed when we made this building. We designed that. We didn't buy it from a catalog. An artist made it. The doors we had designed. And you could say that the building itself is a piece of art, that we have the extra walls that go out that looks kind of like ruins in Jerusalem, and the stones look like Jerusalem stone, and it looks a little bit like the stone walls that you have all over the farmland in Connecticut. But this is a very interesting thing. It's supposed to be one light. There's 2. It's the one on the top and one on the bottom, but it's supposed to look like it's one light. It happens to be 2 light. We did 2 light bulbs in case one light bulb burns out, that it should always be burning somewhere. And then there's the glass in front of it. If you look at it, you don't see the light bulb directly. You only see it reflected or refracted through one of the glass prisms. You see it through a piece of glass. And if you move your head to the left or to the right, you'll see a different piece of glass shining. Do you see that? A little bit different piece of glass shines. And everywhere you sit, you see that light a little bit differently. And it's because of that midrash that says that we all heard God's word, and we all heard it according to our capabilities, meaning we all heard the truth, but we all heard it differently. And that's an artistic representation of that. The Ten Commandments are, well, there's lots and lots of great insights about the Ten Commandments. And there's a whole world of misunderstanding about it. The first of the commandments was Anochi, means I am. Adonai Elohecha, Adonai, your God, Asher hotzeiticha me'eretz Mitzrayim, who led you out of the land of Egypt. It's just that I am. So what is the commandment? That God exists? How do we respond to that? What are we commanded to do because of that? It's not just that God exists, and we know God because of what God does. God freed us from Egypt. Asher hotzeiticha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeit havadim. I freed you from Egypt, and it continues saying the house of bondage, which means that God is there to free us from every house of bondage, not just Egypt. The Ten Commandments continue on. I could talk, well, I know someone who wrote a really good book about the Ten Commandments. In fact, I'm thinking right after services, I'm happy to, well, if we have some youngins in the room, I'm happy to read an adult book that's disguised as a kid's book about the Ten Commandments. Do you think that some people might like that? One of it's the best kids book about the Ten Commandments I've ever seen. If you think, you ever got that feeling? You say, gee, I really wish there was a something. How come no one else did it? Have you ever gotten that feeling and then set out to do it? Whatever. With that, I guess I'm going to share one word about the about one of the commandments that kind of jumps out. It's lo tirtzach. Lo tirtzach means, we translate it as don't murder. It's mistranslated as don't kill. We kill all the time. Anytime you eat something, even if you eat a carrot, you're killing the carrot. It doesn't mean don't kill. It means don't murder. Don't purposely set out to end a life that's wasted. And I think that it extends to lots of other things. I think it means don't waste in general. Don't waste anything that's here. Because everything is part of the circle of life. And if we waste, we're affronting God. And that takes interesting forms. Like when I work with kids and I say, we go outside, you have to come back in and wash your hands. I say, how small of a piece of paper towel do you need to get your hands almost all the way dry? Do you need this much paper towel? Do you need this? Can you do it with this much? Can you do it with this much? Can you do it? Can you get your hands almost all the way dry with only this much paper towel? If you go to dry your hands, is some of the paper towel still dry? Maybe you use too much. How can you get things done with a very small footprint on the world, without wasting very much? And I trace that back to the Ten Commandments. Anyways, with that, we're going to take a moment to remember a few people. In particular, we're going to remember Arthur Beck and Gary Richling, Gertrude Katz and Harry Lassman, Selma Byrne and Sonia Cohen, Miriam Fewer and May Rosen Robinson, Molly Zuckert, Mamie Gittel-Aronofsky, Tilly D'Anto, Sam Lipitz, and Lawrence Albert. Is there anyone else we ought to remember, either a recent death, a yahrzeit, or remembered for any other reason? Is that a recent death? All right, so we remember Alan Becker as well. Anyone else? We turn to page 598, and we rise for Kaddish.